Everything starts with a little kid named Steve who takes us to the fun world of Minecraft. We are talking about the Overworld, a huge sandbox full of funny stories that are waiting to be revealed when Steve was little. His dream was to become the best miner in the world because he loved to go to new places and create new things, but whenever he tried to go to a nearby mine, an irritable old man stopped him. There was a strict rule that only adults were allowed, not children. Time passed and Steve grew up, but life was not what he had thought. He finally started working as a door handle salesman. Yes, the door handles were the same old boring work every day. With a new fire in his heart, he decided to go back to the mine. This time no one could stop him and he really got there. Even though the old man was still, Steve did not give up and started digging like crazy, which he wanted to get back all the lost time. When he added them to the creation cube and opened the door to a magical place, Overworld, a world where anything was possible, he also saw the pink sheep. With its wool he built 3 magnificent houses and became the architect of his dreams. During his walk, Steve met his wild wolf who first tried to eat him. But with a lush femur bone, he cradled the animal and named it Dennis. From that moment on, the two of them became close friends. Together, they created amazing things, shaped the world in their own way, and soon all the animals lived in peace with them. Time passed, they kept creating, looking for new places, finding new things. Then one day Steve found some old ruins. There was an ark placed in the perfect place inside. There was a new portal in that ark. This portal led to the underworld, which is called the Nether, a dark, crooked world where there was no such thing as creativity. This place was full of greed, ruthless pig-like creatures, and all these worked for a powerful sorceress Malgosha. This pig, which became bad due to difficult circumstances in childhood, she wanted to become a dancer, but her own people made fun of her. Even her father threw her out of the house, called her an embarrassment. Since then she was living only on the basis of hatred. Malagosha wanted the creation cube. She wanted to hide it from the whole world, but Steve, who was clever and brave and ran away with it, gave it to Dennis even more and assigned a mission to take it to Earth and hide it in a place where no one could find it. Hidden under Steve's waterbed until he's there, the main world is safe. Years later, we meet Garrett Garrison, a young boy who changed the world of video games by becoming the star of a hit arcade game. He became so famous that he got $1 million deal. He had everything, but one day he got an eviction notice. Just luck let him down from the heights. Now Garrett was completely penniless, so yes, Garrett went to a local auction when he was broke and was hoping to return. Hoping to find something that he could sell and earn money, one of the staff there told him about an old artifact that was very valuable. Curious, Garrett said that if they would give it cheaper and let him see it better, he would think about buying it. Garrett takes the mysterious thing for $900, promising that he will pay the money in 6 months, but when he opened the box, he was completely disappointed. The box seemed completely empty. Angrily, he felt that he was tricked. He closed the lid of the box tightly. He did not know that the creation cube was in it. Hidden in front, blinded by despair, he did not pay attention. Someone standing nearby, who was listening to his complaint that he was completely poor, said that perhaps now he should stop looking for treasure in such dubious auctions. Here we meet Henry and his elder sister after the passing of both their mothers. Newcomers to the city, Nutley, who was trying to get her life back on track, started a small job to help pay the rent at her new home, welcomed by a friendly real estate agent named Don. A pizza to share with his new school friends. He also gave Henry a bottle of cologne just to show his love, but Henry, still troubled by change and grief, barely said thank you and left for the first day of school, while Garrett cleaned up the old junk in his shop. Just then, Henry arrived. the kid who was curious offered Garrett a slice of pizza in exchange for some advice. Garrett, who called himself the salesman of the game of life, joked that his advice was worth $55 an hour. He joked that he said some true things. Friends are like puzzles. Sometimes you have all the pieces and sometimes there is just one less piece that you feel complete. He also said that you cannot be a team alone, but with just one other person you can beat anything. Inspired, Henry left the pizza and went to class. At school, he met the principal who gave him the name tag. During the conversation, the principal suddenly revealed that his marriage had been over for years, but he only lived together for the love of his dogs. Later, Henry arrived in the classroom, where the teacher, who was very sarcastic, complained to the students about hating their lives. Henry accidentally misplaced a part and suddenly the jetpack prototype became uncontrollable. Natalie, who was working nearby, was shocked when the uncontrollable gadget fell on her building. The principal panicked, and Henry demanded to speak to the guardian. Frightened, Henry called Garrett and begged him to be his uncle. As soon as Garrett found out that Henry had $26 in cash, he immediately got ready. In an attempt to explain the matter to the principal, Henry saw the strange cube behind Garrett's shop and asked about it. Garrett just shrugged his shoulders and said that he was selling it for $95. While browsing through some boxes, he found an old instruction manual with a warning in capital letters that in any case, OHRB and the crystal cube should not be combined together. It also said that never, even if you become a pauper, do not open the cube just thinking that there is a treasure hidden in it. Being curious and completely ignoring the warning, the two decided to watch it and went into an old empty mine to see if there was any power in this thing, not knowing that they were about to embark on an adventure that would change their lives forever. Worried and seeing no way out, he called the real estate agent Don. Don traced Henry with the help of a tracking app. He was in an old empty mine. Without losing a second, they both set out to find him. When they got there, they saw something wild and dangerous. That mysterious cube was glowing. It was emitting strange energy that was pulling Henry further. Without thinking twice, all of them together held Henry, and just one after another they were pulled into all of them and crossed the portal and went straight to the Overworld and were surprised by the new world around. Garrett proudly called himself a gaming legend of the 90s. After a while he saw the same famous pink sheep who was watching him eagerly, but he was not alone. A villager who saw the opening of the portal came to the meaning behind him, which started a wild connection between the two worlds. Here in the gloomy and empty city, Pig Len was tired of digging and he did not find any gold. Malgosha was angry again, threatening him with a worse punishment than death. If he did not find gold soon, she would turn him into juicy pork chops. Then he got a signal and the portal was active again. She immediately went to meet Steve, who was still her prisoner. She knew that he was the one who stole the orb. Without much drama, she left Steve, but with a strict condition that if he wants to save his beloved wolf Dennis, he must return the thing that belongs to him. Garrett was trying hard to impress the pink sheep, asking for missions to find him gold. Time passed, nothing happened. Then suddenly Dennis the wolf came running fast. He started barking loudly and the pink sheep retreated. The whole area became silent, but the silence did not last long. Hunter skeleton, giant spiders, zombies and creepers came out of the shadows and attacked with full force. Everyone ran for their lives. But Henry did not panic. He used his wisdom and started building walls from the block to save the others. Garrett hid, but a creeper exploded near him. As a result of which he became dizzy, his scream told his place and soon the zombies surrounded him. In the same chaos, Pink Sheep was also caught. Just then the rest of the group reached to save Garrett. The battle was very fierce, then suddenly Steve came like a true hero. Then the sun began to rise, and as the clock ticked, the zombies burned in the morning light. Steve told that he has come for a deal that will help them go back to Earth, but in return he will have a crystal cube, without which it was not possible to go back safely. Or the only other way was to find the villager who came after them through the portal. He was hit by the school principal's jeep. He was driving distracted. He was embarrassed and worried about the lawsuit. He offered dinner to the villager of the village and said that nowadays everyone is trying to sue me. But you seem to understand that the group with the children reached a quiet village where peace-loving and curious villagers lived, where they met some new characters, a legendary pig, a wise llama, and a giant iron golem who protected the place with honor and strength to eliminate fatigue. Everyone ate the roast chicken together. Steve, who was always on the alert, warned that the chicken was cooked on the lava and it was still very hot, but Garrett, who was arrogant in admitting his weakness, ignored the warning, ate a large piece and endured the pain in front of everyone to save his honor. Tired of Barber's failure, he called the strongest general in his army, Chungush, the strongest and most surprisingly kind piglin. He told Chungush that before sending for unknown people whom he called rowdies, he gave a nether ward, a special talisman, so that he and his army would not become zombified bacon on the way. No more carelessness, he ordered, and Blau continued to do whatever he had to do here in the overworld. Towards the group legendary mansion on the way, they found Steve's inventory in a magical place with a lot of tools, gadgets, and fun stuff. There they found a wonderful thing that teleports you where you throw it. Garrett, who was Garrett, immediately used the Ender Pugil, without thinking that this was his last step. Later Steve showed them how to make tools from the stuff of the world. Inspired, Garrett made his weapon a little strange. But while the work was going on, Henry mixed some of the junk from the real world with the stuff of Minecraft and surprisingly made something very useful. Later, Garrett took Steve aside and talked to him. He confessed that he had read the hidden note inside more and directly asked about the rumored treasure. Steve told the truth. Yes, he had a stash of diamonds, but they were far from deep in the mines. It was a big risk to reach there, but Garrett did not blink. He put his eyes in Steve's eyes and said no diamonds, no orb, so he walked towards the mines as soon as they were about to leave. Arrived General Chungus introduced himself to Steve gently but in a tone like saying, "I can kill you in the blink of an eye." As usual, Steve tried to handle the situation, but Garrett, who was feeling a little jealous and wanted to get attention, jumped in the middle. With his strange DIY weapon, he attacked Chingus and completely missed, but Steve was killed. Chingus was not even scratched. The fight broke up. Natalie and Don remained in one group, while the boys Garrett and Henry were separated. Before they left, they planned to meet at the mansion. To help them escape, Steve distributed special flight wings, but he had only 2 pairs. Suddenly he caught Garrett and flew with him. Once they flew over a quiet field where the sleepy pandas below were sleeping without knowing anything, Garrett and Steve finally launched the water drop mode and landed in a lake without a scratch on the earth. The school principal was on a surprise date with the villager whom she hit with her jeep. During the dinner, she told that she has been divorced. She said that there was no personality in her ex-husband. Stylish were far beyond the strict traditions of the Nether, but his father threw him out of the house, humiliated by his passion, after which he rejected beauty and creativity forever. More was needed to save Dennis, who was still possessed by Malagosha in the eye. Natalie and Don, a real estate agent, suddenly encountered Steve's legendary wolf and, recognizing him, Don cleverly gave him a boon to win his trust. Knowing who he was, they decided to follow Dennis in the hope that he would lead them to the rest of the group. While under the ground, the boys finally reached the depth where the precious diamonds were hidden, but only then Steve, whose minor nose was very sharp, smelt something. What he knew very well was the clear smell of the word nature, and it could only mean one thing: the legendary pig was right here. Steve immediately saw the old anger emerge. "This is the only way I can avoid being a pauper. You will not understand that you are just a child." But Henry answers him with his eyes in his eyes. Garrett becomes silent. Impressed by Henry's words, something changes in him. A new relationship is formed. Together they start planning a theft in the mansion, according to Steve. There are 3 floors of that place. The first floor is guarded by battle-trained villagers. The second floor is occupied by strictly disciplined and without-nonsense dark mags who can summon bad dreams. The top floor is guarded by crystals. A killer who can kill you with just a glance before taking any step. The villagers attacked and dragged them to an underground fight club where brutal no-rules fights took place. Garrett was forced into the ring to face a small zombie rider riding a ferocious bloody chicken. It seemed ridiculous, but the little fighter fought like the devil. Here Henry secretly reached the vault of the 3rd floor. The room was dark and scary, and there the Underman was waiting for him. For his victory, he took a prize, a magical thing that could take him anywhere in the overworld, and perhaps even beyond that. After getting tired but so close to completing their mission, the group encounters their worst nightmare, Malagosha. The piglins which chased them with even more magical scent. With a devilish smile, she snatched the creation cube and the Andaman crystal. No fight, no warning, just vanished in the shadow of vanity, as if she had already won. Frustrated, Steve and Henry try to escape, knowing that it is not possible to take back the artifacts, but Garrett does not miss the toss. He looks in front. The fire of rebellion is burning in his eyes. He says, "If I have to lose, I will lose in style." He raises his hands and screams, and then he made a tremendous explosion. Moments after the boys fell into the rubble, bruised and barely conscious, Dennis found Steve and jolted him awake. Steve slowly got up and waved Henry away. He was in pain, but he was alive. Reunited with Natalie and Don, the group realized how bad things had become. Darkness was spreading in the overworld. Malagosha's power was swallowing everything for Garrett's world. They decided to fight back. They started building new tools, and the strong and cunning Henry Teleportation Sphere came up with a plan. He upgraded the iron golems, added super speed modules to them. Now they had an army of metal angst-ridden demons ready to fight the hordes of the Netta. Malgosha laughed at them coming. The golems didn't fight until they were provoked, but a useless piglin hit the first punch, and that's it. Enough was enough. The golems went berserk and the battle began. An angry Malgosha released his most dangerous weapon, the Great Pig, but he did not expect that the heroes had created their ultimate golem, and the big and powerful one, made of a secret alloy, caused a tremendous collision between the two animals that shook the overworld. Steve faced Malagosha in the armor of diamond plates from head to toe, with a huge diamond blade in his hand. He looked like a legend, but Malagosha was not afraid at all. He knew that his dark magic was greater than any sword. While Natalie was left alone at the same time that the Great Pig was freed from the Battle of Golem, she ran towards Natalie. She had no way to escape, but before anything bad happened, a voice echoed that Dawn was surrounded by a herd of wild wolves standing on a hill. The one whom he did not know how to tame and unite with a fast city. He ordered the attack. Wolf attacked the Great Pig. A wild ancient battle started. Then in the midst of the commotion, the Great Pig angrily fired a dangerous beam towards Henry. Henry was shot. He fell. And the battlefield fell silent and all stopped. Then between the smoke and the fire, Garrett rose like a phoenix from the ashes. He ran and caught Henry and took him to a safe place. The heroes regroup with the remaining free power. They break the dark machinery of Malagusa. Suddenly the light begins to shine again. The overworld breathes. The balance is coming back, but as more falls, the great peg catches up to him. All hope is lost. Then the ultimate makes a tremendous last blow. He destroys the beast and takes back the others forever and is in their hands again, and now it's time for the final battle. Steve moves on to face Malagosha. She's weak and lost. Steve looks into her eyes. You're lost, but she's still trying to cheat on him. 3 times she snatches the hidden knife. 3 times Steve stops her. He knows that the war is over, but instead of killing her, he goes away. He leaves her alive, so that after completely eliminating the danger he lived with the embarrassment of his defeat, Steve says goodbye to the group. He turns to Henry and offers him to stay in the overworld. A chance to start a new life, but Henry shakes his head with a smile. He is going home. Steve respects his decision. He meets his faithful wolf Dennis, but then to everyone's surprise, he bows down to Dennis and hands his rope to Don. He wants a life of peace, and you also, Steve says with a light smile. Then he hugs the guard, calls him a true friend and a brave warrior. He thanks Natalie and Don for their courage. He watches them go through the portal one by one, and when he's about to go back to his quiet overworld life, Steve stops. He looks around, thinks for a moment, and with renewed courage, he goes into the portal of the earth. A few days later, everything has changed. Garrett has made a big level up. His shop is now a complete hit. He has become a master of hustle and gaming. The group together launched a new video game on his wild adventures. Life could not be better. Dawn left real estate and now lives for adventure. With Dennis, she brings fun wherever she goes. As her new catchphrase says, she opened her own self-defense school. Now she's the star of a local hero community. And Henry, she finally succeeds Z-Pack, flying in the sky. He's living his dreams. And that's the end of the story, or maybe not. The post-credit scene begins. It turns out that love blossomed between the villager and the school principal. Now he speaks the stream like humans, and she learnt the villager's language. Since that wild night, the only thing on the villager's mind is he holds her hand, sits on one knee and asks questions.